pounds bigger than I am today. This is how I am right now, and I'm skinny as a needle. You tell me, what is real?
It's not funny.
But I mean, it does beg the question, what has gone wrong with young Hollywood? Honest to God, what is the problem?
Hi guys. Hello, welcome. It's me again, Dara Lane, with another episode of Do You Remember This? A podcast about Hollywood's best, worst decade, the early 2000s. And today we have a very delicious guest. We will be calling her Bitch.Rising, which is her Christian name. It's on the birth certificate, I swear. No, it's her Instagram handle where she does some hilarious astrology memes. So today, in that vein, we will be talking about the signs of some of our favorite Hollywood starlets, most notably Paris, Lindsey, and Britney, the Holy Trinity. Bitch.Rising, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So, when it comes to Britney, Paris, Lindsey, I'm sure we'll also talk about some other people too.
Oh, there's a lot to talk about.
I know. We're already
it's so
good. So, walk us through each of their signs.
Okay.
And what the sign, really, give us your dissertation.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that I'm not an astrologer, but I know a lot about astrology. And I love all things celebrity. So I feel like I'm kind of the authority on this topic. But let's see. So all three of them, they're really interesting because they're three different signs, three different types, because Britney is Sagittarius, which is fire. And then Lindsey is Cancer, which is water. We have Paris, who's an Aquarius, which is air. A lot of people think it's water because it's Aquarius, but it's actually air. Yeah, it's really interesting. Their birth charts are very interesting.
So, can you tell us the difference between, I'm sure everyone here has, and just listeners, by the way, if you hear a clinkety clank, we are drinking wine, and that is us setting down our glasses or typing on the computer, looking stuff up. So just so you know. So I'm sure everyone listening to a degree has a pretty good idea of our sun signs, which is the birth month. All you need to know is the birth month. I'm a Scorpio, born November 1st, but I'm sure a lot of people don't understand the difference between the four elements of how the signs are grouped. Can you walk us through that?
There's four different types. There's air, there's water, there's fire, and then there's earth. And each of them are very different. Air is usually more of them. They can be a little bit more aloof, I think, and not really all that emotional, or at least they don't show it. Because your sun sign is basically your personality, it's how just who you are as a person, and then that's the most important part. And then your moon sign is your emotions and your inner mood, and then your rising sign is your outward self, which is basically how you want to be portrayed, more or less. So yeah, so if your sun sign is air, you'd be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Earth is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Water is Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio,
yeah.
And then fire is Aries, which is me, and Leo and Sagittarius. So who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Paris.
Paris is basically she's an Aquarius. She's unpredictable, eccentric, progressive, aloof, rebellious, maybe? Does that sound like her?
With Paris, I don't know, for some reason, I feel I could see her being a Virgo, but I also just say that because I know a lot about Virgos.
Right. Your fiance's a Virgo.
He is.
Okay. Well, male Virgos aren't as interesting as female Virgos, but that's just... that's just my opinion. But actually, Nicole is a Virgo.
Oh, Nicole Richie's a Virgo.
Yes. Which I think is really interesting.
That
plays really well. Well, Virgo women, I think, can be, like, unless you're Beyonce, who's a Virgo, they're not as much, like, in the spotlight, because Virgos usually are, like, kind of more modest, and they don't really, there's not a lot of celebrities that are Virgos. Like, when you're, like, looking at, like, Sagittarius celebrities, or even Aries celebrities, it just, like, the list goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And then you start to, like, you're looking at Virgo, and you're just like, who are these people?
I feel like Virgos are all, like, the screenwriters or producers or something.
Yeah, exactly. They're not very flashy.
So Nicole's a Virgo. That's interesting to me. I just, like, cannot picture that. But, you know, she also has her rising and moon signs. So, okay, so let's go back to Paris's sign. Go through the description of her sign again.
Okay. The description of, like, the actual sign is, like, humanitarian, usually. They're usually, like, the humanitarian that hates people. That's usually, like, the way that people are described. Like, they're not, but they're really good with people.
You know, okay, I feel like that tracks with Paris, because I do feel like she really likes to be out there with the fans, interacting with the fans and making them feel good and seen. But, like, what do her real interpersonal relationships look like? Like, I don't know how deep her many relationships are, especially when she's, you know, been engaged a few hundo times, but they've never lasted more than, like, they last for, like, a year and then they break up.
Aquarians usually are, like, it's very easy for them to get bored. I think air signs are just typically like that, like, labeled that way. It's like, you know, how, like, they're kind of more
like anywhere the wind blows.
Yeah, exactly. They're, I think, the hardest to describe, because, like, Earth is just, like, they're more grounded, they're more like to be more in the background. Usually that's just like a general, like, sun sign, you know. It's like, then if there's the moon and the rising, and, like, then there's all the Venus and your Mercury and your Mars and everything. So she's unpredictable, eccentric, progressive, aloof, rebellious. And then she has a moon in Leo, which I think is really important, because that's, like, your emotions and stuff. And Leo is a fire sign, and it's usually more flamboyant than the other signs. In a really great way. They're just very showy. Like, let me think, who are Leos? Jennifer Lopez is a Leo.
Oh, she's a perfect
she's, like,
Leo.
typical Leo.
I have my moon is Leo, so.
Oh, well, there you go.
Paris and I are simpatico.
I really feel like moon signs are really important, because I'm a Scorpio moon, and I really feel like a lot like my Scorpio moon, sometimes more than my Aries sun, but I have Aries rising too, so I think it.
Do you? So I've always been told by astrologers that if you're reading your horoscope, to read obviously your sun sign, but also read your rising sign horoscope. But I've never heard anyone say read your moon sign horoscope. Do you have any idea, like, why the rising sign would be more weighted than the moon sign?
I don't know, because moon sign is, like, typically, like, the second most important. For a long time, like, hundreds of years ago, supposedly, people cared more about moon signs than sun signs.
Oh, interesting.
But
because the moon is, like, your inner life.
Yeah, so I really feel like it's not, because I think we spend so much time with ourselves, that I think it's really important to, like, you know, if you believe in this stuff, which I don't think it hurts to. It causes you to be more introspective and think about your thoughts and feelings and your relationships, and, like, always think that's good. As long as you're not, like, I can't date anyone who's not, who's, like, a Gemini or something, which I would understand, but but it's probably not the best way to live your life.
Okay, so let's go to Lindsey.
Lindsey.
Let's discuss Lindsey.
One of the saddest things in the world is that Lindsay Lohan, we do not have her birth sign, so we don't know what her birth chart is, but we do know her sun sign. She's a Cancer.
And does that track for you?
It's really interesting because Cancers are usually treated as like they're very like, a lot of times they're called crybabies. They're not really crybabies. They're just like very in touch with their emotions. They're very empathetic.
Could that be, okay, that could track with Lindsey, because I feel like out of the three of them, she's the one who most relies on drugs and alcohol. Like, they all have dabbled, but she's the one who I feel like is truly self-medicating. And when you're someone who's like so in touch with your emotions and like feel everything, like I feel like that would make sense that she would have to numb it out with
I also want to say that like I don't think that signs have anything to do with like mental health or that sort of thing, but I think that I think she feels a lot. I think she's like Cancers are usually referred to as like the teenagers of the zodiac. They're just like, and they're like a little rebellious, and also like, but Cancers, they like to be by the ocean, which she is.
That's
right?
so sweet. She's
nice.
Like going to Mykonos, hanging by the water.
We actually did something so stupid, and I looked up from her fuck list. I looked up all of their signs.
Oh my god, that is like some Virgo.
But I was like, I wonder if there's some kind of connection or anything. There really isn't, except there's a lot of Aquarians. Mostly Aquarians.
Mostly Aquarians. What's Wilmer?
He's an Aquarius.
Let's go through like some of the
big ones.
The big ones.
Well, one of my favorite is like Joaquin.
Oh
Phoenix
yeah.
Is a Scorpio, which tracks like so much. He's very like,
oh yeah,
like I feel like Scorpio men especially, they're like the very like the brooding ones, and I think that they're really interesting. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. I'm not gonna say
I think Joaquin Phoenix definitely thinks he's very interesting.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sure.
He might be.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, no, he has stories to tell, that's for sure.
His brother died outside Whiskey A Go-Go. Or, no, what?
I don't even know. I told you
Viper Room. What am I? Whiskey A Go-Go.
But, okay, so another one is, Zac Efron is a Libra, which I think tracks. Libras are they're very outgoing. People like them. They just like them.
Okay.
Like, they're just like, I don't know, there's something about Libras that just people just like.
Do you think there are a lot of famous Libras?
There's so many famous Libras. Oh my god. Kim Kardashian is like the ultimate Libra.
Oh yeah. Okay, tell me like what makes her the ultimate Libra?
Libras are like very into like beautiful things being just like nice aesthetically. They're very into aesthetics. They're just like, I think they're more likely to be famous. There's a lot of famous Libra women, and they're just like very charismatic. People just are drawn to them in a interesting way.
Do you think Kim is charismatic?
I think she was.
I think she's too rich to be.
I think she's too rich to
be. Honestly,
you don't need to be charismatic when you're rich.
I mean, half of my charisma is literally just trying to like tap dance as hard as I can for people to like me. And if I have money, everybody.
I don't do that anymore. Just pay for your attention.
Exactly.
That's
and
what people do when they have money.
Money can't buy everything, but it can buy most things.
Most things, yes. But
okay, so let's move on to Britney.
Britney is a Sagittarius, which I love. There's just so many famous Sagittarius. Like it's just like the like.
What are the top like 3 signs of famous people? Would you say, or top 4?
I would say Sagittarius is number 1. I don't know this for sure, but I just know there's a lot of Sagittarius. There's a lot of Aries. I don't know if there's a lot of Aries women. Maybe Leo. It's a lot of fire signs, or maybe Gemini or something. I'm not sure what it is exactly. And of course, like they're all really different, but they are kind of like very similar in a lot of ways. I think once you start to like notice the different, like notice little things in astrology, you start to be like, that's really weird that it's always like this. Yeah.
What about Sagittarius do you think it creates so many famous people?
They like attention a lot. They're very exciting. They're always like on the go. They want to do more. They want to be bigger. I mean, it's like, Taylor Swift is a Sagittarius, Miley Cyrus, Nicki Minaj, like, they're just, like...
Wow, a lot of Sag queens.
Yeah, like, they're just emotional, like, kind of wild cards that I think people find really exciting.
Yeah. What about, like, asking for a friend? Where do Scorpios lie in the fame scale?
I love that Leonardo DiCaprio is a Scorpio.
Yeah.
It's like he's not a Leo or a Capricorn. He's a whole other thing, Scorpio.
I used to, when I was obsessed with him as a child, I thought it was just so great that we were both Scorpios.
Yeah, I bet. And Katy Perry is actually a triple Scorpio.
Really?
Which is like intense. So it's like...
She does... I feel like she must really put on a face to the world, because she does not feel like a Scorpio at all.
No, she doesn't. I feel like there's a level, like a layer to her that like we don't know about.
Oh yeah. I think, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, if you're gonna marry Russell Brand, you have to have a certain darkness to you.
Yeah, there is a darkness to her for sure. I mean, there's not a lot of, like, being a triple Scorpio is, like, not a common, the triple anything.
That's
intense. That's, like, a lot of Scorpio energy.
I can't imagine, like, as my sun sign, what I've got is too much Scorpio.
It's a lot. I know, it's my moon sign. I have a lot of Scorpio. But yeah, there's a lot of famous Scorpios. Got Emma Stone.
Oh yeah,
Anne
Emma
Hathaway,
Stone.
Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling's very private. Emma Stone's really private.
That's
Anne Hathaway's pretty private. These are people that don't really have like Emma Stone hasn't really had like a scandal. Like there's no scandals. Like these aren't like scandalous people.
The only Scorpio I can think of that doesn't fit in with the Scorpio mold is Jenny McCarthy, who I share a birthday with.
Interesting.
Who, as everyone knows if you listen to the pod, she has the blood of children on her hands for convincing everyone that vaccines are detrimental to children. But she is on The Masked Singer, and that's dark. That's very dark. That's so dark.
She has a darkness. All these Scorpios have dark. There's darkness in a good way. It's very interesting. I think people like that. It's very mysterious.
I think so too. And they're very sexy individuals.
Yeah.
Okay, so Britney is Sagittarius. Okay. Do you know her rising and moons?
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Her moon is actually in Aquarius, and which I think is, let's see. She's like a little, it's like there's like a detachment that's there with Aquarius. There's definitely like Aquarius has a detached sort of vibe to them, detached emotionally especially. And her Venus is in Capricorn. Venus is important because it's your love sign, your relationship sign. Basically, what people say is if your Venus is in Capricorn, it's an indicator of children with grown-up ambitions.
Oh.
And
she was a child with grown-up ambitions.
Yeah, that just feels like pretty accurate.
It feels pretty, yeah.
I don't know. My Venus is not in Capricorn. I'm not sure if that's like real, but it feels pretty accurate to me.
It feels good, yeah.
And then I think kind of all together, she has a Libra rising, which is like her charming side. And
Libra, so a classic, like, destined for celebrity sign.
Yes, exactly. So she has, like, everything. She has Libra, she has Aquarius, she has Sagittarius, and basically the best way to sum these elements up is cheerfully stubborn. She's positive and progressive. She won't easily crumble under controversy. That's what this says. This is what I've read from my research. Even with her charm, a Libra ascendant, she turns people's heads. She may just do what she is doing with more zeal. And then, they just come, like, Libra risings just come across, because that's how you're perceived, your rising sign. So your Libra rising, that's just like how people see, or how you want people to see you. You want to be liked. Libras really want everyone to get along. Mm-hmm. They want, and just happy. And that's a big thing about Libras. And they're also really bad at making decisions.
Well, that's very interesting. I mean, it really does track for Britney, I feel like the most of all of them.
Yeah, I really feel like Britney's chart really makes a lot of sense for her. I also hear like Sagittarians are like usually pretty like lucky. Like they get a lot, like they just, I think it's not like luck. I think they're just like, they attract a lot of like attention.
Right. So this is not necessarily early 2000s, but we were talking about Vanderpump Rules before we were on the mic.
Oh my god.
And we can easily segue this. Jax Taylor allegedly sleeping with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, I think that works.
So what sign is Jax?
Jax is a Cancer.
And you were saying that like practically everyone on
almost
Vanderpump.
Everyone is a Cancer. I think it's really interesting because like Stassi and actually I said Tom Sandoval was a Cancer, but he might be a Pisces. I know Stassi and Ariana are both Cancers. They have the same birthday.
Yes.
Yeah. Tom Sandoval is a Pisces. No, he's a Cancer. I'm sorry. I knew I was right.
So Tom is a Cancer. Jax is a Cancer.
Kristen, we don't know actually if she's a Pisces or an Aquarius. I think in one episode she was wearing a bracelet or a necklace that had the Aquarius symbol, but technically her chart is like, it's on the cusp. Cusps are like the end of one sign and the beginning of another, so I'm like on the cusp because I'm April 19th, and and April 20th is Taurus, April 19th is Aries, so that's a cusp.
I feel like I've heard that like some people are told like, oh, you're a cusp, you could be either, but really if you are putting in your birth time and location, like you definitively know if you get your chart read what your sun sign is, right?
You know, yeah, because you have to have for your whole chart, you need your birth time, your birthplace, and like the date. And then that all is like basically like where the stars were right when you were born. So then you're supposed to like, if there's, you know, if you have a Venus in Pisces and you know, then Venus is in Pisces, you might feel like a stronger connection to your Pisces sign.
So what, based on what you know about Kristen, between the two that she's cusped between, which one do you think, if you had to guess, like she would actually be?
Aquarius.
She feels like an Aquarius. Of the Aquariuses, of the Aquaria I've known, she gives an Aquarius vibe.
Yeah, I really feel like that's the truth. But Lisa Vanderpump is a Virgo.
I mean, that really tracks Lisa being a Virgo.
She always has receipts. That's like a sign of a Virgo. It's Virgo and Scorpio, I'd say. And she gets you done, you know? She's a businesswoman.
She's a
like,
businesswoman.
Yeah, they're all business. Yeah.
I mean, so with Lisa too, do you think, you don't watch Real Housewives, but like on The Housewives, which she is now no longer on, she was very like into kind of producing her own storylines in a way that the other cast members really didn't like, and she would sort of filter out anything personal about herself but coax people into doing her dirty work.
That's very Virgo.
Very Virgo.
That's a dark side of Virgo.
Ooh, I love a dark side of Virgo.
Every sign has like a good side and a dark side, and you kind of like, there's a lot of overlap, and you know, and then there's a lot of things where you're just like, you might not know things about yourself, and then you kind of think about it like, actually I am that way, and sort of makes you act more that way because you feel like it is more your way, and sort of like, might be the stars, might be, you know, your brain power, you do, like, who knows, but it's like, it's interesting. I'm trying to think of other Vanderpump people.
Oh yeah, Lala is?
She's like a Capricorn, I think.
Yeah.
She's apparently a Virgo. Katie's a Capricorn.
Okay. Oh, how does that? Okay, let's talk about Katie actually.
Katie
girl. Katie.
I want the best for her. Capricorns are like, I talk a lot of shit about Capricorns on my account because it's my account and I can say what I want. And just because it's like, it's kind of like a running gag that people don't like Capricorns. Oh, I just kind of like play into that because whatever.
So explain Capricorn, like what do people not like about Capricorns?
Capricorns are like, they're very focused on success. They're always like very driven.
I feel like that does not track with Katie
it doesn't.
anymore.
When was the last time she updated her website?
Oh my god,
What was it?
Oh my god, pucker and pout.
Oh my god. Baby girl.
Baby girl. I was thinking about Katie. I was thinking
I think about her every day. Say a little prayer.
Say a little prayer for Katie, that poor little angel who fell through a skylight and into our laps. I was thinking about all of them the other day because they replayed season 1 of Vanderpump.
It's so good. It's just a masterpiece.
And I started watching it again, and I just realized how in the first couple episodes where they're really introducing everyone and they're like, I'm Tom, I want to be a singer, and Katie's like, I want to own my own music label. What's up? How's that going? And
they have their wine brand.
And then the witches of WeHo are no more.
Oh my god.
And then also, Ariana came here to be an actress. Sheena, bless her soul, thought she was going to be.
She could sing.
Thought she could
sing. Lala still thinks she can act.
Lala, Lala. Lala is, I will give her a great performer.
Yeah.
Whereas
true.
Sheena, listen,
Sheena's
it makes
a Taurus.
sense. How does that track with Sheena?
This is really this is mean, but a lot of people say that Taurus is lazy. I don't really think that's true. I think that they just they know when to relax. Mm-hmm. They like to relax. They like comfort, but they're also really hard workers. They can be.
See, that sounds so Katie to me.
But they're both Earth signs. So Taurus and Capricorn, Virgo, those are Earth signs.
Can you think of any this might be too hard of a question off the cuff, but any famous couples that have a good or bad sign matchup?
Well, I always say with relationships, you shouldn't base it on zodiacs, but there are some that are better than others. If we go back to the original 3, go to their exes, because if we go to Britney's exes, Justin is an Aquarius.
And how did those two work together?
Not good.
Not good.
Because fire with air, it's air sort of
blows out the fire.
Yeah.
Or actually, wait, air makes fire bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a birthday
bigger.
candle, not an inferno.
Yeah, Brittany's not a birthday candle. She is a bonfire. No, she's a wildfire.
She's you left too many papers and clutter in your home and dropped a candle and it all went up in flames.
Yeah. K-Fed is an Aries.
Oh, okay. How do those work together?
I don't know. Two fire signs. Sagittarius and Aries.
Now, is that too fiery? Is that too much chaos?
A little too fiery. A lot of people say that Aries and Sagittarius are really attracted to each other, but they don't work out. But now her current boyfriend, she's still seeing the same guy?
Yeah.
Sam something? Right?
Yeah.
He's an Aries.
Okay. And then Lindsey has a streak of Aquarius.
She has a lot of Aquarius. I also looked up Ashley Simpson is a Libra.
Oh.
And then Jessica Simpson is a Cancer, and they both ended up with Virgos.
If you had to guess what their sisterly relationship is like.
Based on Libra and Cancer. I actually do know, I have 2 friends who are sisters who are Libra and Cancer, and they get along really well. So
I feel like they probably...
I think Cancer is very sympathetic. Libra is sympathetic. They really want people to like them. They like when people like them and are happy and are just, I think that they get along pretty well. And I'm glad that they ended up with Virgos, because Virgos are, more reliable than Gemini and Scorpio, which they was before.
What?
Pete Wentz is a Gemini, which is tracks. And then, Nick Lachey's a Scorpio.
Which I'm surprised Nick is a Scorpio. He feels like a less introspective sign.
Yeah, he probably isn't. He's a not introspective Scorpio.
Well, let's close it out talking about Britney and Jax as a sign couple. How does that track for you? Are they gonna make it?
No, because Jax is a sociopath and he's gonna put her through hell. I feel really passionate about this. I just want her to be okay.
Well,
but I think she's this is just her
I think she is she knows, I think, to a degree what she's getting into.
Yeah.
And
she's not stupid.
She's not stupid. I think she's smart enough to play very dumb.
Yeah.
And I think she is dumb. But, like, she also knows...
plays dumber.
She plays dumber. I think she knows how to lean into it. But also, one thing I find very interesting that they never really talk about, like, I feel like it's only one of those things you know if you watch, like, Jax and Britney Take Kentucky.
Oh, which I did not watch.
It was not good.
I hate Jax.
I don't... But...
It's too much. I like a little bit of Jax in small doses.
It was just all Jax.
Yeah.
And, like, making her cry for 6 episodes.
Oh, I can't do that.
In front of her family.
My Scorpio moon. It's so emotional.
But her mother has been married. Her mother's been married like 5 times.
Her mother's crazy.
Her
Did
mom's
you see her new
nuts.
face?
Oh my god, yes.
It's wild. Her mom is like such an interesting person to me.
Her mom, honestly, I want that woman's reality show because
she's messy. I really feel like their personalities, their zodiac personalities come out the best in the one when they go to New Orleans.
New Orleans,
That's
yes.
That's like when you really see it. Like Tom is crying, Sandoval's crying. Tom Schwartz is just like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Because he's like a Libra. He just like wants everyone to like him.
Oh,
and
wow,
like,
that is true. Yeah, he is such a Libra.
yeah, like people just like him. I don't like. I see right through that shit.
I see right
your,
through
like,
it too.
Your little puppy dog shit doesn't work on me, Tom Schwartz.
Well, I think we had a lot of fun today. So just to remind everyone, you can find Bitch.Rising at Bitch.Rising.
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 And you can find my personal at Space Glam.
Space Glam is a great handle.
Oh, thank you. And I also manage the horoscope.com Instagram, and I write for CoStar.
Ooh, CoStar. We love a CoStar.
So,
well, guys, it's been another episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. You can rate, subscribe, review, you know the drill. All right, see you guys next week with a new episode. Do you remember this?